Two. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tapping into another episode of the Mindful Moneymakers podcast, where we break down all the tips, tricks, and mindset shifts you need to make if you want to live a life by design instead of by default. Today, we have a very special treat for you. I'm so aligned with her mission. It's so powerful, and I thoroughly enjoyed our pre-podcast interview. And I think that this is one of the episodes that you want to really tap into and be really, really super present with, because my guest today is going to teach you how her app can give you an emotionally healthy mindset. But before we bring her on, let me tell you a little bit about it, right? So, Hibby Bartlett is energized, committed, and passionate about leading wellness conversations around life balance, mental wellness, self care, self realization, and whole life wellness. Her joy is seeing individuals build healthy communication and wellness methods into their life that reduce stress, reconnect relationships, and bring harmonious balance into their lives. She excels providing people from all walks of life with practical communication advice and strategies that meet today's struggles with disconnection. Hibby is a professional speaker and founder of World LOVEbank, which is a new health and wellness app designed to build and secure emotional health. Hey Hibby, how are you?
Hello, I am great. Thanks. Talmage, it's such a pleasure to be here. So I feel like, our hearts are totally connected. And yeah, no, I find that the space I'm in today with you, I'm just so grateful and feeling extremely blessed. So thanks. Thanks so much.
Indeed, this is a perfect moment, and I'm so glad that we get to experience it. Thank you for showing up. I was able to give everybody kind of a brief overview of who you are and what you do, but I want to give you an opportunity to kind of dive into the story of how you got started, where you are now, and where you headed.
Okay, well, thanks again for giving me the space to feel safe. And I think that's where we all want to be in life, is that feeling of being able to be authentic and intentional and feel safe and accepted. So the World Love Bank has been an idea of mine since 2012. And yeah, I started out originally with the idea then, but it was through a struggle. When you have a struggle and you have to overcome it, you don't really know you're going to overcome it. You just have to almost go down into it before you can get out of it. And that's really where it was. So for me, it's the World Love Bank has been my source of joy, my source of love and life, but it didn't manifest until the last 2 years. So I think that's a great message for for the listeners, is that don't let go of your dreams and hold on to them. And so how it all came about was I was going through some struggles. I went through a nasty divorce, and just, I was feeling emotionally, I was spiritually and financially bankrupt. And I just felt like there was nothing I had that was really valuable. And the only thing I knew for a fact is I have so much love to give. Like, I just love people. That's just the hippie thing, right? Like, I just love people. And so what happened was I was just like, well, the world needs love, and love is so valuable. And where is the bank? Like if it is as valuable as it's supposed to be, and we always say like love is the most valuable thing in the world. Well, where's the bank? Where can I get it? Where can I, give it? And I was just like, oh, I'm gonna build a bank. And when I started thinking about that, I saw the purpose behind it, because I'd lost my brother a few years ago before that time. And the last words he'd said to me were, I love you. And that was only after, and this is over the phone. So this was only after I'd said to him, I love you. He's like, no, you don't. And I'm like, I love you. I love you. He's like, no, you don't. And it was like 15 times. And then finally he said, I love you back. So I knew that at that moment, I knew there was love in me. I knew that I was still a loved person, but I just couldn't access it. So I thought, I'm going to have a bank where anyone, anytime can access it. And I still went through my struggles, but I actually reserved the name, and and I just said, okay, I'm going to build a bank one day, and I put it to the side. So that's where it all started. And yeah, ask me any questions and I'll tell you more about how it works, and just all the journeys I've gone through to have that emotional wealth, because I think really that's what we need to like, move on. And abundance is a lot of more about just that emotional wealth that we feel inside, that is really where, we can do anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that one of the questions that you asked that was super powerful that I would want to invite anybody listening to this right now is when you said, where do I get it? How do I give it? When you're talking about love, referring to love. I think that in our previous conversation, we talked about how important love is, right? And I think a lot of the listeners are aware of the law of reciprocity, right? And I think that it's not like an unpopular opinion that love is the key, love is the answer, but instead building that type of relationship and experiencing love enough to be able to give it, I think is the key to happiness, which I think is one of your top priorities with your mission. So my question for you is, what has been your experience through that question? How can I give love? I know that it produced the Love Bank, but how has this journey like enriched you personally by focusing on the love that you can offer to others?
Well, as I was saying, I think that is a great question. And I can share what had happened to me and what is always happening to me. So at that time, I, as I said before, I literally didn't have a job and I wasn't able to work, and I just was in that position where I didn't really feel like I had anything to give, but I knew I had that love. So I said to, the higher power, whatever's out there, I'm like, you know what, you know, use me, because obviously I've got nothing, I've got nothing else to do right now. So how can I be of service to someone else? Right. Like, get nothing, they got nothing to lose. So it was just a strange set of events that totally unexpected, where a girlfriend was driving somewhere, like, a few miles, well, like into the States, and she needed to have like a designated driver. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll go with you. She was meeting someone. She met this person, and he ended up being someone who had a nonprofit organization. And I had no clue. I just knew that in my like list of things I wanted to do in life, I wanted to work in orphanages. And I met him, and I told him all about like these good things that were, I wanted to do in the world. He's like, oh yeah, we'll stay connected. And it was like a month later, he's like, I have to have knee surgery. And we were kind of just keeping it like in like very, very limited contact, just a couple texts. And he said, would you be interested in going and to this nonprofit in El Salvador, and being my eyes and ears, because he had invested in it and he wanted to see, what was happening out there. And I had nothing to do. And I was like, I was working, but it wasn't like a real job. I was just kind of piecing together little gigs. I was like, yeah, sure. And I went, and when I became of service for someone else for 7 days, I literally was going through these um, orphanages up in the mountains, and these little villages where people were, these kids, a family of 5, were in these like these homes that were made out of garbage bags. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh. I came back and I was like loving on these people. I came back and I realized like I have so many more opportunities in life. Like I came back and my eyes, my vision, everything changed. And then things started to roll out.
Mhm.
So I think what it is asking, if, how to be of service to other people is a really good question when you're struggling, because it takes you out of your own struggles. It's not that your struggles don't matter, but sometimes it's just hard to see other things when you're looking down. Like it's about looking up and being like, okay, I have something, and believe that you have something to give, right? Anything, love,
Mm. Right.
attention, you know.
Hmm. Right, right. And I resonate with your story. I've had this idea, this awareness some time ago that depression is from focusing inward too much, or focusing on what I'm not getting, what I need, and what I don't have, and what I should have. And happiness, joy, fulfillment comes from thinking about what can I give. Because when you start thinking about what you can give, you realize that you have more than you thought you did,
Mhm.
right?
Hi.
So I think we lost the audio for a little bit,
Yeah,
so I'm gonna back
it's
up and
good.
I'm gonna go back in. So I was saying that I resonate with what you were saying, and had a personal experience where I came to the realization that depression is tied to focusing inward too much, specifically on what I'm not getting or what I need, what I lack, and what I should have, and how things should be. And the cure, the antidote to that has been figuring out or asking myself what I can give. Because when you feel like you don't have anything to give, you also feel like you don't have anything, period. But when you challenge yourself to make your life about giving and about service, I think it kind of forces you to dive deep and really take inventory of the things that you truly have. And I think that it's a gold mine when you get to the place where you realize a lot of the things that you have to give are intangible, right? And also super powerful, like your attention, your time, your life force, your energy, are things that don't cost you a thing, really, but are super impactful and can really help somebody turn their life around. And surprise, surprise, you commit yourself to down that track, and you get even more. You get to have beautiful conversations like these, and you get to go to extravagant places and have beautiful experiences. It's kind of like the answer to the riddle.
It is, and we want to. The cool thing is we want to share it. We don't want to keep it to ourselves because it. The more we, the more you give, the more you get. It's like that thing that your mom always told you, right? Like it's just it's the law of the universe because when you give something, there's space to receive, and it's funny because um, you can give a lot of material things away and it's always going to be on the outside, but if you give something away from the inside, there's it's that you will always feel full, and that's that completion. And like I said, with that practice of doing it, you start to you start to do it unconditionally, and then you realize that it is unconditional, and the more you give it, the more you get it. And it's like you start to see people differently
Hmm.
because you're not there to provide them with like a financial material thing. It's like money, it doesn't compare, right, to the love, because people, you've heard the story of people have tons of money but they still feel so alone, right? But if you were to give that, you can open up so many more doors for yourself. Not that you're doing it on purpose, but because people want to help each other. People want, like, and you have confidence, and also the fact that that you love yourself, that you feel like when you think that you have love to give, then you know that you've got value. And then when you know you've got value, it's like, hey, you can wake up every morning and say, like, I make a difference. I've got something, that the world needs. And all of a sudden
Hmm.
you're like, yeah. And it's not going to be because, you're wearing fancy clothes or all that other stuff. It's because, you're looking out. You're not looking in your head with those stories spinning in your head. You're looking out, and you see so many, like, you're always going to cross paths with people. So there's always like truck it, like every
Hmm.
time you walk up, and I think you and I had that conversation. You look at people and you give them a smile and you think, I love you. And ooh, it feels good. It feels, and then you're like, I just gave that person some love. And you don't even have to tell them.
Hmm.
And wow, like you start walking around like that, you're going to walk up a little straighter. You're empowered,
Hmm.
right? You've got something. And that's nothing, and no one can take that away,
Hmm.
right? And then you have to start asking yourself, like, you got to struggle. What's the solution here? What how can I fix this? You just ask for um you ask for the universe to be like, what, let me not think about this for another hour, or show me something I can do, or how can I be of service? And things just all of a sudden appear because you're not in your head with all those blocks on, I think.
Right.
And it's worked for me. I think it works for a lot of people.
I think that it would work for a lot of people, and I would invite anybody listening right now to try it out. The next time you're walking down the street, the next time you're in the supermarket, the next time you're out in public in any kind of way, mentally to yourself, just say I love you to everybody that you pass, everybody that catches your eyes, and try it out firsthand. I think that if I'm to make a guess at it psychologically, uh, I think that there's two emotions, and every other emotion that we experience is rooted in these two emotions. You got love and then you got fear. So as you were talking and I was having the experience of you, in real time, I felt that it was an opening up for me and a melting away of anxiety. I think it's the anxiety that kind of shrinks us and keeps us looking over our shoulder and not trusting and not being able to connect in that way. But love is so closely tied to faith and optimism that it just doesn't gel well with being anxious, right? Being unsure. I mean, of course there's going to be things that you're unsure of. We're not, aware of everything that's going on, but with a certain level of faith or love, I think that is interchangeable.
Yes.
You can move through this world, through the universe, knowing that you are covered, you're protected, that you're guided. And it's the best gift that you can not only give to somebody else, but it's the best gift that you can give to yourself. You know, that's
I
super good.
hear I hear you. It's like it's as you were saying that, the word that came across my mind as you're like, as you move through, it's like grace, you know,
Mhm.
because you just, things you can see things, and it is optimism, and you start to have a little space between how you feel and how you react to things in life, right?
Mhm.
Like you don't have to react to things because you've got this love, this bubble thing protecting you, right? So something happens and you can be like, I can respond to this, or I can react. I can just like attack, or I can just like step back. And there's a space between how you view things. And as as you move through, like we said, if you're thinking about love or you're thinking about positivity, it's you see it more. They say, like, if I said to you, you know, do not look for a red car. You're going to see every single red car on the street today, right? So it's like saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to look for love, and you're going to see it, right? It's how we position how our thoughts are. And it's like, that's why I say, if you can wake up every day, and it doesn't change, the number in the bank account today, but if you wake up and you don't need to go on your knees, but you just kind of say, before your feet hit the ground, just be like, I'm going to do the best I can today with whatever I've got. And I'm going to send out lots of love, and, please show me how I can be of service to someone else, and if I can make someone else's day, like if I could do one thing today to help someone else. And if you were to do that, and think of it like just a smile, just that one silent I love you, and you've sent that out into the universe to someone else, and that has improved your day, like
Mhm.
you're walking with more confidence, you're feeling better, you've done your deed, and now all the other stuff is just bonus,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And it's so deliciously simple that I think people overlook it, but there's real power in what you're saying right now. And I strongly recommend people actually tap into this because it is truly life changing. Hey, Hibby, I want to know about the moment that, the idea for your app came about. What was that experience like?
um like I said, it was when I was in that stage. And it's actually funny that you asked me what was that moment like, because that moment it was around Christmas. It was in December 2012, and I was on. Everyone was asleep in my house. I had two kids, and I went out the back, and I sat there, and it was snowing, and I was just feeling so low, and I'm like I just like, how can this be? And I was like, you know what, I'm going to build a bank. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but it was that moment I was like, because like I said, I was like, I knew I had so much love to give. I knew that it was valuable. I couldn't connect that I had love and that love is valuable. These are facts, but somehow it doesn't seem like it's valuable enough in life. Like it's just not. Like I know it's valuable, but it doesn't seem like it's valued.
Mm.
And that people, and that there was some kind of disconnection, and that we had this, you know this valuable thing, but there was no way to access it. Like, and I knew, because it was like, it's not sex. It's not like, it's not about having a personal, like, loving relationship. It's this unconditional thing. It's this, I see you beyond all this stuff, right? I see you. I know, I feel you. And it's like, I was like, okay, I'm going to build a bank. I don't know. And it was that exact same thing. It's like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And it was a decision. And I mean, that was 10 years ago, and there's been ups and downs and all these different things in my life. But the next day I registered like World Love Bank, and I kind of looked at it, but at that time it didn't make sense, because technology didn't have the means to make something intangible tangible.
Mm.
Like, I wanted to, I knew that was the goal, but it was like, how do you create that? Like, I couldn't see the connection on how to create it. But I knew it was going to happen. And so I just put it away, and I just did the next right thing. You know what I mean?
Yes, indeed. That's beautiful. I'm so glad that you followed that calling, to create this love bank. I want to talk a little bit about the features. Like, how does it work? What are some of the premium features that the app offers?
Okay. So, yeah. So I did create the World Love Bank, and the World Love Bank is an app that is created to not just save our most precious memories and like audio and video, but it's a place where people can access unconditional love as well. So it is a bank. It's like, exactly like I said, it's a bank where love is saved. And how it works is as we've just said, like, sometimes you have to give it to get it. That's the catch of the World Love Bank. Once you sign up, it's available on the Google Play Store. It's going to ask you to say the words "I love you," and then as soon as you say it, it's recorded, it's deposited, and the only thing that's really recorded is the audio and the country that you're from, and so that deposit is unconditional and it's anonymous, and it goes into the joint account. So now nobody's bankrupt in regards to love, right? You go into the bank and you now have a bank filled with I love yous from all around the world to listen to. And it doesn't say from Tom or Jim or Jody. It's from anonymous. It's from the universe saying, hey, I want love. I'm going to give love. Like I said, you say it, you want it, you give it. And so that's the global account. And anyone who signs up has access to listen to those. And there's a collection from the whole world. And then there's a collection that you can hear from different countries.
Mhm.
So, as I said before, like, my husband's Australian, so he gets lonely missing the Australian accent, and he can go in, he can hear all the I love yous with their accent, or, all around the world. It's always going to be right now in English, but that's how it is. And then the other main feature is that you can create in the app audio and video messages to send out. So if I were to send one out to you, you didn't have an account, it would say, oh, Talmadge, you've got the World Love Bank. Hibby from the World Love Bank has sent you a message. You're like, click on that. And then it'll take you to the app. You can download it. So you have to give the love to get the love, and you can hear the message. And I could have recorded I love yous or hear how to have a great day, but those are private. So I can then, if you receive it, or say I received something like that, I would just save it in my messages, in my little folders of my savings account. So I can have my I love you savings account from people I know, and, audios and videos, things like that. And I can store them into different categories. So that's really nice. And then, like I said, a bank is a checking account. So you check in with your emotions.
That is
So
so beautiful. This is why I was excited to have you on. I'm excited to have this conversation, because I think that is a phenomenal idea. And we had talked about being able to send videos into the future and have it like a love time capsule.
yeah.
How does that work?
So when you join, you do get the basic account, which allows you to have 30 seconds of audio, and you get a certain amount of storage space, and you get the access to the global account, because everyone does deserve love and should be able to access love anytime, any place. But if you want to get into the upgraded features, which is the video and the we call them milestone folders.
Mhm.
So what happens is you actually, it's the same location of the app. You just hit the plus button and you hit video or audio record, and you choose you hit the button for the future and you choose a date in the future. And what happens is it will hold that message you created into your milestone folder until that date, and then it will release it to the person.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you can see the ones you've created. You can go in and say you might have changed your mind and or wanted to update it to a better video or something. You can go in. It's stored there. You actually have it in your savings account under milestones, and you can go in and check it until the day it's released.
That's so cool.
And then you also get a like this. So it's all like an additional, like the bonus features. It's like you get a legacy account. So the legacy account is where how I would use it is I would send messages to myself. I can send messages to myself in the future. I can send messages to myself now, like, hey, Hibby, this is a great day for you. I
Mhm.
just want you to capture this. And add, or I can tell a story that I want to have saved for my children, right? Like my kids have asked me, read their bedtime stories and just
Mhm.
like save them or tell me a story of your favorite day or when you, like I had a deer when I was a baby as a pet, like not as a baby, as I was an 8-year-old and I had a pet deer. And
Huh.
it's just the favorite story that they love to hear is that, how I talk Bambi talk. And it's kind of silly, but they want to have that package so that they can tell their kids. And it's a legacy. It's something that that's special to me, that is in one safe place, because life is temporary. The
Mhm.
bank is here to build emotional wealth, and they'll feel safer. Their history, their memories will be protected of me as
Mhm.
well as of other people that we love.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I think that what you've created here is something that is super versatile and very important. I don't know how you came up with something that can be used so many different ways and still be so impactful. Like sending love to yourself, sending love to other people, sending love into the future, sending love,
Yeah.
to your kids. Like if you can record a loving moment that you're having with your baby and set it to when they can actually consume the content and actually
Yeah.
value it, you can do that right here right now. What's coming up for me when you're speaking is this time where I was living in a place, and entrepreneur, got a bootstrap, got to cut down on expenses, and I wasn't living where I want to be living. I wasn't living in a space that I was as proud of, that as I could have been in, right? So I had an idea. I said, Tal, you're not going to be here forever, right?
Hmm.
You're putting in the work, you're committing yourself to service, you're going to upgrade your living circumstances, and you're going to go here, there, everywhere, or whatever. Instead of resisting this moment, embrace it by recording a video, right? And saying, look, bro, I know you're not going to be here. So when you're not here, remember where it all started. And I recorded all the things. And that just really shifted the energy about where I was in that moment. And I'm seeing like kids that are going through college, and midterms are coming up or finals are coming up, and it's a really tough time, and this is an opportunity to use the app and say, bro, I got you, I love you. Look back on this moment, because you're just writing your story right now. And that's just one way in which I think your app can be used in a very powerful, psychological, vibrationally healthy way. And it's I can go on and on about it. I love what you got going on.
Oh, it's fantastic to hear that, like, that it's like, people get energized to hear you say that. Yeah, like I could have told myself a story. 100%. Like that's it. Like, there's so many different ways. And the nice thing about it too is that it's the love bank. I mean, where else are you going to save your most precious, priceless, valuable things but in a bank? So it's that click. It's like, of course, because you could have it on your phone and you could have it on your computer, or you could have it on Dropbox, but like then you've separated things and then you've mixed things with like documents. And this
Mm,
bank is intentional. This is where you store those. I'm coming back for you, right?
right.
This is where it lasts forever. And it has that power to, and this is where it is. It's like when you're banking it, it's your assets. It's
Mm,
valuable. It's something that, like I said, it's priceless. Because one of the other things I'd like to share is it causes people to be intentional. And
mm,
2019, I lost my father, and 2020, I lost my mom.
mhm,
And I have purposely saved messages about, like, she's from Cape Town, South Africa, and District 6, and she had all these great stories. And it's like they'll never be enough. So
mhm,
I got some of them. I had her record some. I've had her record "I love you," and it wasn't because it just made me feel a bit safer, because what had happened, it was completely unexpected. But I knew I was building the app,
mhm,
so I had those in place, and I have them now. And then I've moved them onto the app now for me, so that they're safe for me and for my kids. But life isn't, you can't prepare for everything. But this is what this is a legacy. This is something you can plan for the future and leave important things for those you love, right? To build their security,
mm.
right?
Wow. So what you're saying is that you can also upload videos you already have to
No,
that.
you can't. So that's a feature that we'll probably be able to create in the future. What I did with those, it was more it was audios that I took, and I had to, like, put them together to make sure that they were saved in my personal, but they're worth it for me, because now I've got them in two places. But I know that, like, whenever I need to hear her, I just go to the Love Bank, because it's like under my mom folder, and it's like all there. And that's the sound of someone's voice,
Mhm,
is like they're right there. And to hear her say "I love you," like, that's the one of the goals of the Love Bank too, is like, get in there and not only use the "I love yous" in the global account, which are anonymous, to boost your energy, or try to go to bed and listen to, like, "I love you" from all around the world. Imagine these people, but go and send the people you care about most an "I love you," and
mhm,
let them bank it in their account. Because you don't say those words and bank it, but that if something were to happen and you were to hear that person say, "Hey, I love you," and you're like, oh, like, you would just feel so good, right?
right.
Or like that's why it's for mental health. We talked about mental health, right? You could say, like, I could say to my friends, like, if you're going through a bad day, like, just breathe. Everything's gonna be okay. If I'm
Mm,
not there with you, like, I'm still here with you. And you know and I'll always be. And then they can have that, and they can hear it. And that's one of the thing I wanted to say, because, like you said, too many features, no, never enough.
Yeah.
the, ch- the checking account, you can actually, as well, you check in, like, there's your emojis of how you're feeling, but you can also exchange anonymous audios.
Mm,
So we have these encouragement boosters, and it'll have, like about 5 different phrases you can choose. It records it anonymously, and then what happens is we get it into the app, and then we create these compilation 2-minute boosters. So
mhm,
it's anonymous voices saying words of encouragement. So you can see it on the website. If you go to the website, you can hear a bunch of people saying, "You can do it. Everything's going to be okay." And this was actually one of these live events I held,
mhm.
and people came up and recorded something, like a booster for the world. And but that's another thing you could do, because when you deposit it, you actually see that you've given a boost to the world. So it's that walking and saying "I love you" anonymously to people. Like,
Yes.
you're building up you can look on your profile in the bank, and you can see how many boosters you've sent, how many messages you've sent. So you're not just sending them and not knowing. You can actually see the difference you're making to other people.
Mhm. Super cool. Super cool. So many ideas are running through my head of how valuable this is. And so many like different emotions are coming up too. I could have used it, in so many different areas. And I know that your app is giving people the flexibility and creativity to really express themselves. I think in the most powerful way a human can, through service and through love. The power of love is the most powerful force that we have. So I'm super excited. Could you remind us how we can tap in to the app again and download it? And you say you had a website?
Yeah, so you can actually, if you want to find out more about all the features, you could go to the worldlovebank.com website, and then just go through how it works, about us. It'll explain. a bit about the idea. You can actually you can hear a little playback of all the I love yous. And right on the front page, there is a link to the Google Play Store. So either you do it on your phone or through the website. But yeah, you go to Google Play and you can install it for free and try it out. And even if you want to try the upgraded features, it has a free trial. So, don't be shy to do it. And yeah, like the thing about the love bank is I don't want people just to bank love. I want people to learn how to share love, because like you say it, and you hear it, you just want to say it more. So people will maybe who don't hear the words I love you very often, go into the bank, sign up, get filled up with global love, and then go out in the world and share it.
Yeah.
It's going to come back to you. I promise. It's, and it's your emotional wealth. It's what's going to make you feel safe and secure and protected and, unconditionally loved, because there is nothing more valuable than that feeling. You can't buy that feeling.
Right. Yes, indeed.
Right. Love
Uh,
is.
I'm just seeing people that I know that there's so many people. I remember sitting alone in my room, could have heard I love you, you know, over and over again, because it reminds me that I love me. It's kind of like an affirmation as well. When I get the app, I'm going crazy. I'm gonna send it to everybody. Everybody's getting, so if you're watching this right now, you're in my phone book. If you're on my friends list, you're getting an I love you from me. That's a whole entire fact. Oh man, we could definitely talk about this for centuries, because this is, to me, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. It's the only thing that matters. Everything
Mhm.
else, everything else comes from here, from love. This is where we start. This is where we stand on love, to give service, to show up in the world. This is it. This is the thing. So this is the episode that that defines the entire podcast. It's all about love. But we're not going to talk for centuries. Uh, so before I let you go, Hibby, I gotta ask you, what's one thing that anybody listening right now can start doing to live a little bit more by design and less by default?
My one thing I would suggest is to ask the universe every morning how you can be of service, and just take a moment, pause, and listen. And maybe that being of service means to look in the mirror and say, I love you to yourself, because that's where everything starts. And I love you. So please.
I love you too. Oh my God. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. This has been a phenomenal conversation. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for stopping by.
I will come back anytime. And I'm sure you and I are going to stay. We're very well connected.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
We
Oh,
like it or
absolutely.
not.
Oh, we
But
like it.
we love it. Good Lord. So that was Hibby Bartlett, the love doctor. I'm calling you the love doctor now. You get to
I'll take it.
you just healed me. And to everybody listening, as always, love, be well, and don't forget to have the guts to follow your guts. Peace.